Welcome to a Revenge of Podcast One Shot. We're back with another One Shot, and today I'm joined by some very special guests, the creators, writers, producers of the hit Netflix show The Boroughs, Jeff Addiss, Will Matthews, and Jose Molina. Thank you so much for coming. My God.
Thank you for having us.
Did you like that intro? Was that good enough?
Was jazz. It was a good
jazzy.
I thought it was smooth. I thought it was genuine.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for coming. My God. I slid into your DMs the second we finished the show and was like, would you mind coming by?
Yeah, and it worked. And I was saying, I was apologizing because like you sent it in like the week the show came out. And I was so busy. I was like, yes, absolutely, because this is your shop is my regular comic shop.
Love that.
And so I was like, absolutely, and I sent it on to our publicity team, and then never actually reached out to say like yes and thank you. So it was very exciting to be here.
It was much better that way because it was like a wonderful surprise to get in my email versus just like the hit back. So I appreciate it. But
we really meant it. We're excited to be here. Thank you.
So we crushed The Boroughs. Like I think we started watching it at midnight. Right before it came out, and then finished it in like 2-3 days. And I'm not going to just gush the whole time, so I'll get it out of the way at the top of the show, but it was so good, you guys.
Thank you.
It was like a warm hug of a story. Like it just had it was just like the perfect ride, I would say.
That's really where it came from. It was just, we just wanted to do something that was just everything we love smashed together.
Yeah.
That's really how we think of it. It's just, you love this, I love that, Jose loves this, let's do that. And we just throw it all together. Our writers, our actors, everything.
That's kind of what it felt like, honestly, watching it. Let's start from the very beginning, the inception of this thing.
Okay, so first there was the word.
Okay, yes.
And then the dinosaurs got too big and
You
fat,
gave
so they
them a
died.
The word is
love. Rose Kennedy invented nepotism, and here we are.
Okay, then moving on. No, so how did this whole thing come about? Like, how long have you guys been working on this show? I assume decades.
The beginning was pretty quick. We got a call about 3.5 years ago. 4 years ago.
That long? No.
Yeah, because it was before the strike.
Yeah.
And the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah, never heard of them. Are they new?
They're sweet kids. I believe in them. They got a vision.
They're going to be okay.
Nice.
They just got their new big fancy deal.
Yeah.
And so they needed to start meeting with writers, but they didn't know any writers. And we didn't know any writers, so we understood. But they liked our previous show, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Nice, yes.
And so because they liked that, they called up and said, if you have any ideas for the next show, let us know. And we said, ideas? Don't worry about it. We got 1 million. Just give me a week to polish them up. And then we went back and immediately panicked and came up with this idea in one night. And it's just very sweet.
Really?
It's very genuine because we thought, if we're getting an offer to do a show with the Duffers behind you, let's do a show you could only do with the Duffers behind you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we thought, Jeff loves monsters and I love old people, and put them in a show because that sounds insane.
I mean, honestly, I think some of the best ideas in any sort of artistic medium come to fruition like in a flash like that, you know. So I think that's incredible. So from inception to rolling cameras, what was it, like a couple years? How did that go about?
As these things go, very quick.
Really?
So we wrote a pilot. We talked to Matt and Ross for a while. They gave us some great notes. We pitched it to Netflix. They bought it on the Zoom. We wrote a pilot, a couple weeks, months. They greenlit the show off that script.
Mm-hmm.
And then the strike hit. And so we all went pens down and did our thing. And then when we came back, we started a room and we brought on Jose, who was our number 2, who we've known for a bit. And then we just went. And so as these things go pretty quick, we actually finished it a little while ago. There was like, Matt and Ross had so many shows coming out. We had to sort of wait for our turn. Does that make sense? Because they had Stranger Things, which they were finishing while we were going. And then they had something very bad. And then they had the animated show. And then it was our turn. So we've been done a bit.
But we went into the writer's room knowing that the show was getting made, that cameras were going to roll.
Wow.
And that's not always the case.
Yeah.
And so it's not exactly time pressure because it wasn't a rush, but it was a sense of certainty and not kidding. This is going to be real. And one of the things that Jose is so good at is, because of all of his experience, is taking the scripts, the ideas, and talking about the practicalities, the production, seeing around those corners.
Right.
And so that writer's room was invaluable.
So about what point did you come into the picture, Jose?
So I came into the picture in my own head very early because I'd heard of the show before the strike.
Yeah.
And I was like, at some point I have to hit Will and Jeff up because I want to be on the show, but I don't know how long the strike is going to last. So I got to keep my powder dry so I can, when they're ready, I can raise my hand and go, please hire me. And so I'd met them a couple of times before through a mutual friend of ours who they worked with on Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Dark Angel. That's a different show.
Wouldn't
That's a much different show.
Which you also worked on.
And so when the show was announced, I was ecstatic. And then I read the script and I was like, who do I kill?
Yeah.
And please, our mutual friend Javi, please Javi, don't be available because they'll hire him instead of me. And as luck would have it, Javi wasn't available, and I was the next best Puerto Rican that they could find. And you know, I sent the guys a message, and Javi sent them a message, and we set a meeting and we talked about it, and I told them how much I loved the script, and it happened. And it, you know, I've been doing this for 27 years professionally, and this has been hands down one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Really?
That's what's amazing about. There's so many amazing things about Jose. We're just going to say nice things about you.
Excellent.
Also.
Yeah, it's your turn.
But like Will and I, when you break it down, haven't made that many hours of TV.
Yeah.
So we did 10 episodes of Dark Crystal. We did the 8 episodes of the Boroughs. We've done a couple of movies.
Yeah.
But Jose has just done way more television
Hours upon hours
of us,
Yeah.
and all different like genre, like every show that you love, you know, Firefly and Dark Angel, which he was talking about, and all these things.
Carter.
And so he's just
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter. And so he
Wow.
just knows television better than we'll never write as many hours of TV probably in our lives as Jose has already done.
Yeah.
And so he just brings a sense of experience to it all, because we're just a little like, yeah, we'll do anything. He's like, all right.
I did have to tell you guys at some point to be a little meaner.
Yeah, you
'Cause
actually did.
You were being too nice. I'm like, guys, you got to put your foot down. Can we swear?
Yeah, of course you can swear. We're not live. We can say whatever we want.
You got to put your fucking foot down. You're the boss.
Yeah, we told Jose what the hours are that we like to run, and then and then everyone's out the door by 4:35, and the look of horror, just soft living. These
Come on.
How are we going to finish this in time with
Like-
those kind of hours?
Like 6 if you're lucky. 4:30.
Yeah, but we really did 10 to 5, and that was sort of it.
I love that. There are so many things to love about this show. For me, one thing that stood out like right off the bat is the design. I mean, obviously I'm a production designer, so it's like, I don't know. But it just spoke to me immediately, like the design of the houses, the design of the Boroughs, even the costume design, like everything felt like so intentional and also very cool. Talk to me about all that for a little bit.
Well, that's Ruth, man. I mean,
The production design, yeah, Ruth.
we just had one of the great production designers of all time in Ruth. She's a genius. I mean, she just is one of those people who just the level of detail, the thought, she thinks of story, and we think of story in terms of words and emotion, and she thinks of story in terms of color and building material, and what is that cubicle made out of, and her attention to detail and fidelity to the script is incredible. And so the way she can design a space to tell the story and also design a space that the DP can move things as needed to light properly, that the director can do a crazy oneer if she wants to,
Right.
That she can do all of those things stacked on top of each other and they don't interfere with each other.
Mhm.
It's incredible.
Because Will and I are very crazy about world building.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time on
I can
it.
feel that.
Yeah, it's really, but Ruth is probably the only person we've met who's more obsessive than us and really cares. And so it was a really lovely thing. Like, and it's that trippy thing of what we all get to do where you write something or I sketch something. Like I remember sketching the Cul-de-Sac on a whiteboard in our weird offices. And she took a little photo of it quietly. And then she comes back like 2 weeks later with that. We built that whole cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
We built 9 houses.
Yeah. Very pluribus of you.
Yeah, they were down the road from us building their own cul-de-sac. We didn't know until I watched the show, and I was like, "Are you kidding? We're both in Albuquerque cul-de-sac." But she had turned it into this beautiful thing, and the attention to detail, like you said, of like it didn't have, because we didn't want it to feel Stepfordy, like too.
Yeah.
It had to feel like a place you wanted to live. That was
For
the trick of
sure.
it. So you had to want to live there, except there's monsters.
Yeah.
So you'd want to live there if there wasn't for the pesky monster problem. And that's hard to pull off because it's not a haunted house story,
Right.
but it's a haunted house story, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a tricky balance to pull off.
One of the episodes that killed me is when Alfred Molina is just tearing the set apart with tearing all the lights out. I was like, can we stop this
Yes.
already? This is like hurting my brain.
But that's so fun. It's like, yes, but that was very like, we put that thing together. And the first sets that were built were the house. So we didn't have the rest built. It was his house. So the first like 2 weeks of shooting was just Alfred Molina alone in a house, like ripping it apart, putting it back together. And he's like, there are other people in the show, right? I was like, there really are. They're coming any moment now.
Well, because one of the things in world building you want to do is have everyone else treat the world as normal.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't feel like you're feeding exposition all the time. So it's new to one character, Sam, so it can be new to the audience. But that means you need to kind of present a lot of the world right away.
Mm-hmm.
And from a production standpoint, that means poor Ruth, I mean, 80%, 90% of the sets of the season had to be ready
Right at
for
the
the pilot.
beginning.
I mean, that's insane. We would never do that again.
Yeah.
But it did work for the show.
It really did, honestly. And like, I love how every house is the same more or less, but then you can see the characters and how they've modified and how they live in them and stuff like that. And I just think it was so important to the show, and just personally, my enjoyment of it was like the visuals. It was incredible. Let's talk about influences a little bit. Like, what are some of the things that influenced you guys?
We talked a bunch in the room. We really kind of think of ourselves as like late 90s, early aughts, second or third generation Amblin.
Mhm.
So like it's a very specific target, but it's like Signs. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like peak Shayamalan sort of coming into that era. If you look at Signs and you look at the Boroughs, there's a lot of comparisons, like in terms of how they score it, their opening credits, like the aggressive big score we did in a small environment, that's Signs. So weirdly, that was like our target. And then everything else was just, what do we love? I mean, Jose, what do we talk about like a bunch?
Well, I mean, I think in our DNA, more you and me, Jeff, than Will, because Will is a bit of a chicken.
How dare you?
Wow.
He is, it's true. He doesn't do horror.
Oh, well.
I still haven't seen the Boroughs, but I hear good things.
It's a little scary.
He likes the scenes where they're all nice to each other.
So, like, I mean, I think all three of us for sure can point to Amblin and E.T. and early Spielberg and go, that's our DNA.
For sure.
That's the primordial soup that we were formed from.
Definitely down to the score, you know, and
Big
like,
time. And like the
music
way,
cues.
yeah,
and
the
all that
music
sort of-
cues is like not a thing people do on TV anymore.
So good.
And then you take that Amblin-esque vibe and you throw some Stephen King into it.
Yep.
Which is, you know, one of my biggest influences. I know it's one of Jeff's biggest influences. Will has never read Stephen King because he's a chicken.
I read his book on writing.
Yeah. The rest is too spooky.
Wonderful.
He's reading his first now.
Yeah. I like it.
But those but those I think were our touchstones when we were in the room, where we talked a lot of about, you know, hitting that vibe or you know, you're always sort of talking in pop culture references when you're in a writer's room. And so Spielberg and Stephen King and, you know, a Goonies kind of vibe was constantly in the ether.
It didn't feel like, and not to like poo-poo Stranger Things or anything like that, but it didn't feel as like beat you over the head as some of that.
Well, they're a period piece, which is a different thing, right? Because they're so specifically doing like a thing. And we are modern day, but sort of just throwing a bunch of stuff into a soup.
Yeah.
So certainly there's some DNA in common. And it was funny when we met with Matt and Ross was how much of the same things we all just liked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? The way we talk, we're about the same age and like the same things.
I mean, there is a picture of the Dark Crystal movie on the wall of one of the kids' rooms in Stranger Things.
Right.
And there's a Goonies poster behind their desk when you get on a Zoom with them. Like they have a Goonie, like the original one.
That's
Shit.
awesome.
And didn't Matt and Ross reach out to you guys specifically because they didn't know any writers, but they had seen that Dark Crystal show and they loved it and they wanted to know who wrote that?
Yeah, and it was funny because they were talking to like the person who runs their company, and apparently they were like, "Do you think they'll meet with us?" And she was like, "Yeah, I think the guys who did Dark Crystal will meet with you, Duffer Brothers." And we went. That was correct.
But part of the language of those Amblin movies is the tone and the worldview.
Yeah.
And so none of the kids in Goonies die.
Right.
Right. If you were making that movie now, it would be darker. The kids would get more hurt. They probably wouldn't be kids. They'd probably be in college. Right. So that worldview is a little bit innocent. It's a little bit hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really think of the Boroughs as an adventure show.
Yeah.
And those Amblin adventures are scary. I mean, E.T. will make you cry your eyes out. You think at one point E.T. and Elliot are dead, but they're not.
Right.
And so the idea that heroes face challengers on the quest, but heroes can also win. They can
That's what I mean
vanquish.
by saying it's like a warm hug, because it takes you on this ride, but that it doesn't make you feel like shit at the end.
We really wanted it to be something that you'd feel good. We really did want that.
Yeah.
And
We tried to put that on the poster, and they
yeah.
just wouldn't let us.
You can,
you
can
won't
quote
feel
me
like
on that.
shit, the Boroughs. But I did think about like my mom a lot and my grandmother, and they don't watch a lot of genre in the same. Like I'm sort of, me and one of my sisters is like sort of the genre nerds. But I was like, I want to make something that my mom could watch as well. So that it's not a horror show. We really don't think of it as a horror show. It gets scary, and Jose would push us even scarier, and then we'd kind of come back, and then we'd kind of go. It was a real back and forth of like, where is the line of scary? And so the first episode is ironically probably the scariest.
I would say so for sure. I mean, just that opening sequence,
Yeah.
you know, and I also love how we get seeing the monster out of the way, like right away, more or less.
It was a big back and forth with Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, we really went back and
with
forth.
the Duffers.
And with the Duffers.
Like
yeah.
they were very much of the keep the shark hidden, and the three of us in the room kept talking about how early, and I don't think I was present when that final decision was made, because if I remember when the room wrapped, you were just gonna get a glimpse of a shadow of a thing that attacked Grace.
That edit was done and redone. I mean, we had 3 different versions of how much of the creature. Maybe you just see the hands. Maybe you only see the eyes and you don't see the hands. And part of the things, because everyone talks about how much you never see the shark, but also the opening scene is a woman being violently killed by a shark.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't know it's going to be a scary movie.
Right.
And so we wanted to tell the audience right up front what the show is going to be like and how to watch the show. So there are a lot of tones in that one sequence, and one of the tones is scary.
Yeah. And I also think like seeing the monster like right off the bat, it tells me that like this show isn't about this isn't a monster necessarily.
That's the other thing. So we do a couple things. We switch. We're going to go spoilery now. We switch from monster bad to monster good.
Yeah.
The show is about a guy who starts off wanting to kill a monster and ends up saving a monster.
Right.
So we know that's the arc. So we only need the monster to be scary about half the time. So you're shortened down. The other thing we needed to do is we don't only have monster pops at the very beginning and the very end. And so we wanted a little bit more monster to carry the monster people through. And then the other thing was we wanted to make it scarier. Almost all the deaths happened in the first episode because we wanted you to feel like anybody could die. And then as Will said, we knew we were never going to, it was never really on the table to kill anybody else.
Yeah.
And so we kind of decided to push the monster a little bit harder for better or worse from the gate.
I mean, seeing Bill Pullman go right out the gate was a shocker. It was a real shocker.
We got a lot of notes about that, but not Jack. But he's coming back, but not really. And that was one of the reasons in the room we talked about opening your episode with a body bag, because people just didn't believe he was dead.
And it's funny because when I read the script, I'm reading it, I'm loving it, and then Jack has that great scene with Sam where they talk about my wife is dead, and Jack sort of bolsters him up. And then 5 pages later, Jack is dead. I, as a reader who have been doing this a very long time, I'm seldom surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? You killed Jack, you monsters.
Well, and he's so important in the first episode that it's kind of like, wait, what?
That's the thing. And then all the other characters that you've met once or twice suddenly step up and become the leads in the second episode.
But it's so important to everyone else's character that death happens, especially Alfred Woodard's character. My God,
And it's the way you keep Sam in the town.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he would just leave. Like there's the money thing to keep him there. But more than that is you need an emotional reason to get him to stay. There's a guy who didn't want to stay. So it had to be somebody he really loved. And Bill is so good in that part, and he's so charming. And that the more as the dailies come in, we can start to see people going like, so we're not going to kill him, right? We're like, there's no show if we don't kill him. Like we can't change that. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't just add him to the rest of the show.
The show is shot, and we still got some people being like, yeah, but like we could get him in 6. I'm like, it has been shot for a month. What are you talking about?
Like he's off doing Spaceballs. You guys, he's not around.
He's busy.
He's really busy.
Who brings the comedy to everything? Is it all you guys? I mean, I feel like it's you.
Well, thank you.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Will.
It's a team sport.
Sure, of course.
We're all working together. But basketball was too, and there's Jordan. I'm kidding. We're having fun. No, I think that Amblin tone is really because it's not parody. It's not, it's not Clue. It's not Spaceballs. It's not the comedy of that time period. really,
right.
because that would be a little bit broader. It's we try to bring in comedy language, comedy rhythms that are a little bit more classic. I mean, it's not straight Abbott and Costello. That's too far. But you don't want it to sound like 40-year-olds telling jokes either.
Right.
It has to be a little bit rhythmically different and the language a little bit more temporally specific. But basically, it's sweet. The humor is sweet, and it's about friendship. And that's the comedy that we all had and that we had in the room. It's born out of affection.
I read from an interview with one of you guys saying how it was important to that the age was never the butt of a joke, and I thought that was really smart. And also just like
it's just, and that's the version you've seen a lot, right? Like in the horror stories or adventure, like this kind of darker story that has older characters, they're usually the monster in some way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it's usually a young person being like, no age. And we wanted to flip that, and we didn't want to make them a joke. And so that was something we talked about a lot. And like the manner too was really tricky of like, how do we keep them from becoming a joke?
Yeah.
Well, you talk a little bit about the sweetness of the show, and you mentioned as well. And I think that's something that really comes from these guys.
Yeah.
Like these guys are not cynics the way I am. Like I was constantly trying to be like, more monsters, more violence, kill everybody. And these guys were like, we like you, now shut up.
You're still hired. Relax.
But these guys are, you know, in very dark times, they're optimists. They are all about sort of the uplift and the feel good. And I think that's what makes this show special, is that it is a bit of a relief from all the darkness that we're surrounded by. It ultimately, at the end of the season, you feel good, and you've seen these relationships build, and you want to see more of them.
Yeah. I keep hearing like Cocoon come up in conversations. I'm not going to touch on that.
Look, we had a Cocoon poster outside of our office with a Post-it note taped on it that said evil above
evil
Cocoon. Like we knew. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're not people who are like, no, never. We're like, if you do that, people are going to compare it to Cocoon.
I kept hearing Cocoon, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why is no one talking about Batteries Not Included?
Thank you.
Which
that is a
for
big
me,
thing I'm saying. I think we're closer to Batteries Not Included than
100%.
in a weird way.
So
I mean, I know the aging thing and the peach and the pool, but like we hadn't seen. You can't get Cocoon.
Yeah, I know. I just bought it on DVD. I was going to watch it before this. And
it's really hard to get.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't actually seen it in a bunch of years until we watched it again recently. It's more like our memories of it.
Yeah.
And then we rewatched it and I was like, oh, right. That's
why is this kid in this so much? Get this kid out of here.
That's another thing. I mean, we're bouncing all over the place, but that's another thing I loved about this show is it didn't rely on a kid to show up and be like the star or whatever.
We almost did have a kid.
We
get them out of versions. We did. It was like early on in the process, there was so many people who were like, he should be like, his granddaughter should come to live with him. And we really thought about it. And then at a certain point, we were like,
we kind of have a kid in Claire.
Yeah.
It's just in this show, the kid is 40.
Yeah. Friend of the shop, Jena Malone.
Oh, she's incredible.
Jena Malone is the best, man. Do you know her? Do you know her?
Yeah, she comes in.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll text her after this. She's the best. She just released her album. Shout out to
nice.
She released an album. It's really good.
Yeah, she calls it sci-fi folk. I mean, she's just the coolest.
Love that.
She's just the coolest all around.
Yeah.
But that was a character that everyone related to.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that everyone of every age said, oh, I'm just like Claire, because if a 70-year-old said that, he then talked about his 90-year-old mother.
Right.
And if a 40-year-old said it, she then talked about her 70-year-old parents.
Yeah.
But everyone identifies as the kid. No one identifies as the parent, even when you are the parent.
Except a little bit Jose. Jose in your first meeting was like, I know I'm kind of Sam. And we were like, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm the grump.
A lot of people were like, I'm Claire. And we really like the people who were like, I'm the other character you didn't expect.
No kid in Batteries Not Included. I'll say that.
Is there no kid? I got to go back and watch
There's no kid.
that again.
We just rewatched it, or he had never seen it, so I made him watch it like last week or something.
I got to get it.
It's like it doesn't quite hold up, but it's still, you know,
that's the experience of a lot of those movies. When you rewatch them later, you're like, oh, and there's always a lot of problematic 80s stuff. When you go back and watch some of these things, you're like, oh, is that what they did with the magic power? Oh, no.
This one isn't bad, actually. I just rewatched it about a month ago.
Oh, really?
And it doesn't it has some cringy moments, but very small. But what it does have is what I was just talking about. It's that uplift.
Yeah.
It's that sweetness.
Yeah.
Like, you know, while you're watching it, your people aren't going to die. There's going to be drama, there's going to be stakes, but at the end of the day, they're going to get not just a win, but a magical win.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what the Boroughs is borrowing from, that feeling.
For sure. Let's talk about the cast. My God, how did you get so lucky?
Well, we found this lamp.
Yeah,
we rubbed it.
You know that obsession machine that like went bad for them, it went good for us. We talked about it in the like we just got lucky.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was a Geena Davis type part we had, and then like the agent was like, "Do you want to talk to Geena Davis?" And we're like, oh. She said yes, and then we met with her, and she's like, "I want to." Stacking bodies came from her.
Yeah,
the line stacking bodies. She was like, "I want to be rock and roll and kill people," and we're like, "You're a rock and roll manager and you kill people." Alfred, you had on the wall.
Yep. I really wanted Alfred for
My
Judy.
God.
So much so, do you remember doing this to me? The writers made fun of me because I apparently said quite a bit, Alfred can do that in a look. Alfred can say it in a look. We don't need that line. Alfred can do it in a look. And you guys put a picture of Alfred doing a look up on the wall, and they would just start pointing to it. And then eventually the writers reminded me, we do have to actually write something for her to say.
Yeah.
So she was
so
an
that you
early
can
one.
cut it on set. But I mean, she'll help
Let's
us
just
out.
throw it in there.
Yeah.
For
You can
coverage.
edit.
And then you get in the editing bay and you're like, you can do it in a look. So yeah, we got lucky. We had a great casting director in Carmen Cuba. She does a lot of Duffer Brothers shows. She does a lot of Soderbergh work. I mean, she's just incredible.
Yeah.
And our theory was proven true. We thought that there is a lot of talent in this age group, and some of it is being underserved. And if you offer these legend lead roles, they will take them.
Yeah.
And they did.
I was going to do this whole bit about how we were going to pitch you on actors for the second season, but I've forgotten all of them except for Susan Sarandon.
We've probably been through the list. Like I'm sure Google thinks I only Google people's ages, if that makes sense. And then sometimes you'd Google and be like, oh, they're dead. They died like 5 years ago. Oh, shit. That did happen sometimes when we'd be looking up.
That's because you're like, you got to ask two questions. Are they available and are they available?
Yeah.
And are they going to remain available for a year or two?
Well, it's hard too because you want actors who are 60s, 70s, but able to do. It's a very physical show.
For sure.
It's very physical, and so a lot of our actors, you'll notice, still do a lot of theater.
Yeah.
Because Will and I come out of theater, number one, and number two, we just know if you can do 8 shows a week, you can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing harder than that.
For sure.
And so a lot of these actors have worked together on stage and know each other from that work as well. Like Fred's still doing plays all the time.
Well, and you could see it on set because there were days, Fred and Dennis in particular have done a lot of theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would just do the whole scene. I mean, they would just do 5 pages in one go. And there were a lot of days that we wouldn't have made if we didn't have actors of that caliber, if they were having trouble with lines or with memory or the blocking, but they were just pros.
Done.
They didn't have any of that.
That's amazing.
And we wrote very specifically hedging against that problem, a problem that never occurred, but you don't know that until you know it, which is why there's so few scenes where they're all together. And then everyone says, especially the actors, they love those scenes. They want more scenes where they're all together. And we're like, but we didn't know. We thought we might need large breaks for people to rest and have time. Turns out we didn't.
I love how it's like a lot of like parallel storylines that converge. Like that's another thing that feels like a throwback almost a little bit.
We talked about the Scooby Gang a bunch. And so if you look at it, it's kind of like each episode in the beginning, a different member of the Scooby Gang joins.
Yeah.
So it's really like assembling the crew is the first couple of episodes. And then they're all together in 5.
Right.
And then you pull Sam away in the back half. But that's how we really thought about it. If you go through it, Dennis joins in 2, Alfred joins in 3, 4 is Clark, 5 is Geena and Paz. So that's how we constructed it.
Do you guys want to talk at all about how Fred came into the mix?
Yes, please. I assume Fred is Alfred.
Fred is Alfred. Fred is Alfred.
It took me a second when you're talking.
Because we call him Fred. Also, you forget he's British until you like meet him again. And you're like, oh, you've done so much.
Well, that was one of our few rules about Sam is, we needed someone that could be a grump, but you would still love him, but that was a grump. And we had one of our few rules was no Brits because we can't deal with the accent. They don't get the American right. It's just a whole thing. And then we met with Molina, and he was just, from the moment we met with him.
So good. And you guys nailed this, like, this is maybe a subculture moment for me, but you made him kind of sexy. in my opinion.
He doesn't need the help.
He doesn't need the help. Those suspenders are all him.
I mean,
he's
the
bringing
suspenders, the
I
New
was telling him that
Balance.
he should do like a suspenders line
Yeah.
that he should release coming off of the Boroughs of like
100%.
Alfred Molina brand suspenders
Yeah.
because he makes them like those are him. Like he
Yeah.
looks
That
great.
hair is his hair.
My
And
hair.
we made him, go a little bit longer than he likes because he's a little bit ruffled and he's not taking care of himself.
Yeah.
And his wife was like, keep the hair. And the minute he got upset, he's like, no, it's too long.
She's like,
But how did he come into the picture? Like,
He really did just get sent the script
Yeah.
and he read it and he liked it and he wanted to meet with us and kick our tires and we wanted to meet with him. And the second we really saw him on the Zoom,
that was it.
that was it.
Yeah.
He talked about his own experience with grief and aging. He talked about his experience with reading the script and how it made him feel. He talked about giving it to his wife, which she's one of the great screenwriters.
yeah.
And she liked it. And he thought, well, she would know. And so that's why I wanted
But
to do it.
I'm not joking. From the moment we met Fred, that was it.
Yeah.
Like there was no other conversations.
I
Like
mean, my God.
it's like Clark. We knew we wanted Clark for art, and he said no.
What?
Yeah, he passed. And he's got
Like
a really
twice.
nice, like twice. He's got a really nice house in Portugal, and he was like, "I'm good." And he actually said to us, "I don't want to be fighting monsters when I'm 80." And on the day he wrapped, he said to everybody, he turned to them and was like, "I was wrong. I want to be fighting monsters
Yeah,
until
got
I'm
his
80."
ass.
But we had to like convince him to do it.
He's so good too. My
So
God.
good.
Everyone's so good. I mean, Jane Kasmerick, like, my God.
Her
Mary
and Fred have
McDonnell.
known each other for years and years. They played husband and wife 4 times.
Yeah.
So they've known each other forever. So we just borrowed their,
Yeah. Smart.
like, they've known each
There's a lot of great things you get from a cast that's this experienced. I mean, we did the
Yeah.
Mass one. It's like 300 years of combined experience or more between them all. But in that experience is not just acting experience, but experience with each other.
Yeah.
And so Jane is a great example. They've played married couples many times. They're very good friends. And so you can steal that and put it in the show and it makes the writing look better. You believe that they're a couple, that they've had that connection for so long because
Yeah.
they have had a connection for so long. I mean, Gina and Bill have been together in a couple things.
Gina and Ed Begley Jr., very good friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gina
They
and,
never share a scene, but they're like very good
Gina
friends.
and Alfred have worked together. And so their friendship was.
I feel like we haven't seen Gina in quite a while. Like, I think that was part of the reason I was so excited to see this.
She works pretty good, but I think she wants to kick ass more.
Yeah.
And I don't think we got to see her kick ass in a
Yeah.
while.
We need a long kiss goodnight too.
That's what I'm
You know
saying.
what I'm
She
saying?
wants to do it. I'm not kidding. She's talked about it. She's like,
Do it.
they're bringing back all these like dude action franchises. She's
Yeah.
like, let's do that one.
Well,
And I'm
she
like,
just got one.
absolutely.
She's doing an action
She's
movie
doing
with Schwarzenegger.
They just announced.
Come on.
Okay. Why not?
They just did. Yeah. And so we were like, absolutely. Yeah, they should do Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they should do that. She wants to do it.
So where do we go from here? I mean, the show, it's a hit, right? I think it's a hit. It's in the
seems to
top 10
be.
still.
We just don't know. We're literally waiting for Netflix to tell us. Does that make sense? Like we're in
Isn't
that
it?
weird time.
It's
like,
so hard.
It's very weird because Netflix is on the one hand a black box.
Yeah.
Right? They have their own data that's their data, that they do what they do with it. And then you have the public facing, which is Rotten Tomato scores and
Yeah.
#1 in countries and on the top 10. So from what information we have, it looks good, but it's just that's not the information that they have. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows really? The algorithm is figuring it out
Yeah,
as we speak,
that's right.
probably. Yeah, so shockingly season 2 hasn't been announced yet, but I can only imagine like what can you tell me? Anything.
There was a little hint at the end of the first season of where
Yeah.
we wanted to go.
For sure.
We have talked about it. There have been those conversations. We do have a sort of 3-season plan if
Yeah.
we get to do it. But we've also been very clear that if this is the end, we feel good.
Yeah.
And that was part of the nice thing about leaving the characters in a good place because we didn't do that on Dark Crystal. Like we left some of those characters at really low points and we genuinely feel bad. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? We were so cocky that there would be a second season that we're like, see y'all in January. and so we really
and now
did.
Deet just wanders the forest.
There's this little sweet
full
character
of
named
evil
Deet
purple.
who just loves everybody, and we just made her evil, and she's like, whoa, and walks into a dying forest. End of season. So we always felt bad. So if this is the end, cool. If we get to keep going, then there's some themes that we want to explore. We haven't said what Mother is,
Yeah.
and we think that that question of what Mother is sort of the central. Once we reveal that, once we get all that done, That's the end of this show.
We had that little moment where the little glitchy moment at the very, very end. You know, there's a lot. We're rewatching it right now, or I watched the whole thing, as I said, and then I'm on like episode 5 again now, just like rewatching it so I could be prepared for today.
So professional.
Thank you. And yeah, we're just like, oh shit, I hope they follow up on this next season. And there's a lot of moments like that.
There's nothing we will say, like in our writers room, we're not throwing stuff out. Does that make sense? Like there is a very specific, we know what Mother is. There is a plan. There is a thing. If we don't get to finish it, fine, but we definitely know what it is. And I would say that 5 and episode 8, there's some lines Blaine says in the cave that are probably the strongest hints of where we would like it to go.
Okay.
And there were some more explicit backstory scenes that we tried. We had this long flashback. Remember that we just could not get it to quite fit into the language of the show, but we wrote it. We just decided not to shoot it.
Yeah, because that was the Jose. That thing bounced around. We had that flashback everywhere.
The infamous episode 6 break. Yeah, that one was crazy. We were in the middle of the season. We were going to do a flashback episode to how everything started. And we went through, it's got to be 10 iterations, if not more.
And bless James Seamus,
yeah,
the great writer who wrote episode 6 and just went on that journey with us through version after version.
Well, and at one point we said to him, like, we're getting a little pushback. People don't know about stopping the story for just like a 10-minute short film.
Yeah.
And he said, well, it worked on Crouching Tiger. I was like, good point, James.
He also wrote Crouching Tiger and Dragon. And they're like, yep, James, we'll tell them that.
I typically personally hate like a backstory, like a throwback episode, but I will say recently, are you guys watching Widow's Bay?
Love Widow's Bay.
It's so good, and they did a backstory episode, which was like awesome.
It was awesome, and really, what it was like it. That whole scene kind of became a speech.
Yeah.
So the speech that Dennis gives in episode 6, Wally gives about it was that.
Yeah.
And we were trying not to make it just something that they said. We wanted to try to make it something you saw.
But now we have an episode kind of ready to go for season 3 if we get that far. Because
that's when you need a throwback.
We figured out so much of how this place was founded and all the sort of cool, because we went down the road far with this idea. So we have a bunch of really cool mythology in our pocket that we can drop whenever we're ready to drop it. If we're lucky
feel
enough.
like a 3-season arc is like the perfect amount.
And also it's an older cast.
Yeah.
Like it's just the reality of like, do they want to be fighting monsters at 80?
Yeah.
Like
it's like the opposite problem of Stranger Things.
In a funny way, a little bit. Yeah. And it's like, and they're all fantastic and they're so sharp and they're doing great, but they might decide in a few years that they want to retire, which would be totally fair. So part of the thing we said to them at the beginning was like 3 seasons, and then we would be out.
And then done. Is there anything that you wanted to do in season 1 that you didn't get to do?
We did want to do the flashback.
And we really tried, because it was going to be so arty and cool. We really tried to get that to work. But, I feel pretty good.
There was
about
one
it.
scene we cut. We never even shot it. So what inevitably happens is you have all these plans, and then as you get to the end of the season, you start to run out of this thing called money. And everything that isn't as absolutely necessary starts to people look at it like, do you need that? And when Hank kidnapped
and
Paz
5,
and Renee, we had a whole thing where he's got them in the trunk and he goes to a hardware store to buy like ropes and chains and the things he needs to murder them. And he just ends up in a fight with the guy over the cost of it. And the guy's like, do you really want me to get the manager over like 20 cents for this rope? And he's like, get the manager.
Like a 19-year-old cashier who does not give a shit.
Yeah. And the whole point was that we wanted to set up more that Hank's life is crappy.
Yeah.
Right? Because one of the things we wanted to get into, and we didn't get into this season, maybe down the road, is like, we really did go through of like, if you were that old and you were hiding out in this town, how would you do it? And part of the thing we realized is that when you get sold this bill of goods, when he came in the 70s, Blaine would come to him and say, you can travel the world, you can do all this stuff, you're going to see everything. And then technology comes along and cameras are everywhere. And they basically can't leave that town.
Right.
And so we like this idea that Hank's life is just eternal and shitty.
Well, and Hank's son is seemingly like 5 minutes away.
Yeah, it's like right down the road. Like he wasn't that far. And so this idea of like, he was like promised I'm going to see the world. And then, so there was a lot of Hank stuff we wanted to do that we just didn't have time
Was
to
the
do.
car going off the cliff a Thelma and Louise reference?
Not at first, not intentionally. We wrote it before we cast Gena because we never thought we would get Gena. You never get the person you are imagining.
Yeah.
And so, no, it wasn't really. And then once we got her, we were like, well, is this too close? And I'm like, no, it's different. She survives. But in designing that setup, the amount of times we kept saying, and the car people kept saying, we all kept reminding each other, we cannot subconsciously accidentally recreate Thelma and Louise. And I swear to God, the first car that rolled up was blue. And we were like, we did it. We all did it by accident.
We're not subtle. But no, it was not meant to be. It was all written before Gena signed on. And she even was like, we're doing this? And I was like, should we? And we all just kind of collectively went.
I mean, it's a fun thing that doesn't feel like you did it on purpose.
It's fun.
Really.
Yeah, it really, but it was there before she came on. And then we all kind of looked at each other and decided to go.
It was one of the fun things about writing for an icon. There were moments where like we needed her to pull a weapon out of a thing and just go out of the room. It's not a big deal. She's got to pull the thing and go. And we're like, okay, great. So she pulls a baseball bat. And we're like, well, can't be a baseball bat. I mean, League of Their Own is a pretty big deal. Like, yeah. Okay, great. She pulls like a butcher knife. It doesn't matter. We're like, well, it can't be a butcher knife. I mean, long kiss, good night. She cuts it and throws it against the wall. So there are things we tried to avoid.
Remember that time we had her climbing the rope up to the crow's nest? And it was like, we
No,
can't do that,
guys. We can't do that.
Cutthroat Island.
That's Cutthroat Island.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
When we had that scene where she takes her face off, and we're like, oh, we can't do that.
Can't do that.
When we had dinner with her the first time to meet her, we were talking about how much we love her, and one of the things we talked about was Beetlejuice and how scared I was of that face she made.
Yeah.
And then at dinner, she starts making the face, and I screamed, well, don't make the face.
Don't do it. What else can I say? Oh, I definitely think I already mentioned you should get Susan Sarandon. So do that for season 2. We were saying maybe Dennis O'Hare needs a love interest like Ian McKellen or something, you know, obviously.
No, that's definitely on our list.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else should we talk about before I let you go? What do you feel like about the state of the industry?
I think it's going great. No notes.
No notes.
I wouldn't worry about it.
It's a weird time. It's exciting time, but it's so funny to be putting on a show like The Boroughs at the same time that like Backrooms and Obsession are like the number 1 and 2 movies at the theaters, and we're like, what if we went the other way? 70 years old, like it's like the new generation of horror is coming up, and it's so exciting. We're like, we went the other way. Was that? We don't read the room well, I think is the lesson, but what's nice is that there's just cool stuff. I mean, like you said, Widow's Bay is rocking and rolling, doing cool stuff now.
Fear was surprisingly good.
Yet, but I've heard it's really, really good. Yeah. Like, there's cool stuff happening in horror and genre across just a lot of different places now.
Yeah. And the truth is, just whenever you enter the industry, you entered at the wrong time because it was so much better 10 years ago. And even that was true when we entered. And even now when people say, well, how do you break in? I find myself saying, well, when we broke in, it was much easier. it was always better back then.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of shows. There's a lot of work.
Ask the guy who started doing this 30 years ago.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, you every
back
version.
in the day.
What was it treated like there? I mean, was genre thought of as well, or was it just like
no, not at all?
No, that's how it feels.
Really took like X-Files and Lost to make the genre have any air of legitimacy. Like when X-Files was nominated for Clyde Bruckman was huge, and that was in the mid 90s. When Lost won for Best Drama in 2004. That was gigantic. But no, if you remember, like all our favorite shows growing up, all those Star Treks were syndicated. Yeah. And it was a little bit, Sci-Fi and TV was a little bit of a ghetto that you had to be careful not to get pigeonholed, because if you were writing time tracks, do you guys remember time tracks?
I don't remember time tracks. I remember, which one is time tracks?
Dale Mitkiff from Pet Sematary. Sorry,
I don't remember.
I'm a little older than
you guys, but I did watch Javi's first show with the dolphin, Sequest.
Yeah.
Sequest.
I love Sequest. My God,
I remember time. What was the one where they went into different sliders with Jerry O'Connell?
Sliders was so good.
Sliders, but that was one of those syndicated ones too. Like that was where all the genre stuff was.
But you're right. I forgot that Next Gen was syndicated. I don't remember it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, like Babylon 5 was, and a lot of
Farscape wasn't syndicated, but that was one of my favorites. In that time.
My God, that's got to be like one of the cheesiest ones.
Oh, it's so great. They didn't have a ton of money, so every planet they go to is like hung with curtains.
Yeah.
Like it's like, look at all these curtains. We didn't have wall money.
Curtains in Vancouver. That's how you make a sci-fi show.
Yeah, I was watching Stargate. Yeah.
So last but not least, there's a character in the show called Slightly Handsomer Security Guard.
Yep.
Tell me about him.
So what's funny is I've discovered I'm Slightly Handsomer Security Guard, but they didn't name you Slightly Handsome Security Guard.
What did they name me?
What did they name you?
You're not on IMDb.
It's not on there.
It's not on there. So the joke was it was going to be handsome security
This
guard
is an
and
outrage.
slightly handsomer security
Well,
guard.
That's pretty
because
funny.
the name that Jeff agreed to was slightly less handsome security guard.
Mm,
And then I changed it without telling him
That's
because
what
I
it
thought it
was.
would be nice.
that's really nice of you,
I thought it would be
actually.
nice. And then I got cut out.
Yeah, he's got
This
no
is
credit.
the reward for niceness.
But it says how much I think of myself that what I forgot that. What I agreed to was slightly less than handsome security guard or something.
All right.
No one has recognized me in that part. And by no one, I mean my parents,
Really?
my childhood
mustache.
friends. It's the mustache.
It's the mustache.
On set, no one recognized me.
IMDb.
Well, you were in the other seat.
You were so unrecognizable. IMDb didn't consider you either. You are not on there. As
They're
that
like,
part.
there was another guy in that car?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'm very magnetic. But Will was on like Punked and stuff. We were actors for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming and talking to me about this show.
Well, thank
and I
you.
love it so much.
Well, thank you
And-
for having an awesome shop. Like that's really
Yeah.
why. Like for people listening,
Yeah.
Revenge is just a great. And
Yeah.
they've got the shop next door. The what is
and
it?
destroy. It's Revenge of and Destroy. I know. I'm starting to, now that we've had it open for a while, I'm trying to leverage it so I can get people like you in here to chat with me.
It really does work. Like you're where I buy my comics. So
Yeah.
when you were like,
Well, and
drop
I
work.
was promised a tour of the pinball machine. So
Yeah, you're
there
gonna
you
go
go.
quick.
I
They
mean,
got the
Jenna
good ones.
Malone buys her comics there too.
Yeah,
that's how you know.
all
That's
kinds of
funny. We
people.
talked. That's right. We talked about her and I. Okay, and it's
Yeah.
all clicking back.
Nathan
into
Fillion has been here before. Firefly, whatever.
who you worked with on because Jose
Yeah,
worked on
multiple
Firefly.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Castle.
Oh, there
And
you
Castle.
go.
That's right. You worked on Castle.
All right. Well, this has been another Revenge of Podcast One Shot. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon. Bye-bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Shot. 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 Shot.